A lot of people will tell you that treatment court / drug court is a trap, but I'm here to tell you that it can be a useful tool if you allow it. So I just completed both treatment court and probation. 3 years probation, 1 year treatment court. My year of treatment court ended up taking about a little bit over a year and a half to complete, because I did make some errors doing it, and there were some things that I learned along the way that I want to share with you, so hopefully that you can as well be successful, in completing these programs. But first of all is your mindset. When you go into this program and everything, if you're looking for a reason to fail, you'll find that reason. I mean, you really, really will. If you're looking for someone to blame for your failure, you'll find that as well, because things are going to happen that you can't control. I mean, that's pretty much a guaranteed in this process. But like it was explained to me on day one, I'm responsible for what goes into my body. I'm responsible regardless, whether it's a poppy seed bagel that I eat that makes me test positive for for codeine, which happened, but it wasn't even a poppy seed. It was an everything bagel, which I truly did not think was even possible. I did not think that an everything bagel would have enough of anything to do anything, but guess what? It sure did, and I sure did test positive for codeine, but it was such a minute level that they actually believed me on that one. But I did have 2 things that happened that actually set me back in the program, and I did not do anything wrong. Like, I did not do what they said that I did, what they thought that I did from it. So the first one was right when I started the program. It was right after I got all of my teeth taken out. So when I got my teeth taken out, I did it with I didn't get knocked out. I was awake for all of them getting taken out. They shot Novocaine top, bottom of your gums, inside. Oh my gosh, it was the worst pain I've ever experienced. The worst half hour of my life. But overall, I was so glad that I got it done in that half an hour, because I would not want to have went back to do like the bottom. If I just got the top done, I would have never went back. So I'm glad I got them all done the same time, but it was terrible. It was horrible. I don't wish that on my worst enemy. But so back to where I was at. Okay, so now I had just actually started treatment court as well as probation. I had started them. I'd been on them for probably 2 to 3 weeks at this point in time, and I'm flying high. I'm going to, you start out going 3 times a week to treatment court, or once a week to treatment court, but I have to go 3 times a week to Beacon. I have to go to a screen. I have to go to probation. Just all these things. I'm literally 5 days a week making it to appointments and thinking, I'm applying myself. I'm doing everything right. I'm doing all these things. Then one day I went to go do my drug screen, and the system was down. Something was down, so they had to do mouth swabs instead of urines. And when they did my mouth swab, it came back positive for cocaine metabolites. But this is like 2 days after I got my teeth taken out. So I'm not eating anything. There's nothing in my system as far as food goes. And the only thing I'm taking really is antibiotics. I turned down when they offered me Norcos, which is hydrocodone. I turned them down. I said, no, I don't want those, which, is a big thing for me to do, because that used to be my drug of choice starting out. So but I tested positive, right, for cocaine metabolites, and I fought. I brought all these paperwork showing that, antibiotics can test positive and show you all this, but what it came down to in the end is, none of this could be proven. Like, I couldn't, so I had to go back in the program a couple weeks, and I had to face it that, that there's going to be questions about me. They're thinking that I used when I didn't, and that's just nothing I could do about that. I said I don't ever want to do a mouth swab again from going forward. I just want to do urine screens that get sent out properly, and be tested. And they agreed to that. But overall, I had to just accept that this happened. There's nothing I could do about it. I couldn't change that. I didn't do anything that allowed that to happen. It's not like I made any sort of mistake. I didn't eat a poppy seed bagel. I didn't do anything like that, but it happened. So it's either, now do I say, at this point in time, I'm just starting out. Do I just say, well, what's the point anyway? Because they're going to just find something that I did when I didn't do it, and therefore I might as well just use. No, well, I didn't do that. I just said, okay, I'm going back in the program. Now I got to prove. Now I got to step up that much more to prove to them that this is not the person I am anymore, and that I am a changed person. So that's what I did, and I really, really applied myself. So for about the next 6 months, there was really no issues at all. I'm doing great. Now we're at the 6-month mark in treatment course. So now instead of going once every 2 weeks, now I go to once every 3 weeks. So as soon as this happens, there was a day. So what had happened was I had gotten elbow bursitis. So my elbow was like out to here. Anyone who knew me at this time will testify to this, but my elbow is really big, really gross. It's all squishy. It's really, really gross. So I dealt with this, being like that for month and a half or so. And then one Sunday I go to church, and while I was at church, for some reason I prayed. I just said, Lord, can you heal this? Please heal this for me. And then that day I went to work, and while I was at work, I told people about that prayer that I did. So now I'm off Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday morning, I wake up in the morning and my elbow is like half the size. So I'm like, oh my goodness, my prayer is working. So I'm like, I want to show up for work the following day on Wednesday, and I want to be able to show people, look at, God healed my elbow. That was my thought. So I Google on the phone, I look up and I say, what can I do for elbow bursitis? And it says, put on wear a compression sleeve, as well as to take naproxen. That's what it says. So I get out, I have 2 compression sleeves. I put them both on. I wrap them up as tight as they can possibly be up here. Actually, at one point, I literally, like, my arm was like all black and blue because I cut off the circulation to it by doing this so bad, because I'm always got to be extreme and do more. That's what I do. So now the naproxen, I remember it's about noontime. Me and my wife, we were walking to go get food at this Mexican restaurant. We stopped at the dollar store that was near our house, Family Dollar in Mohawk, and I bought a thing of naproxen. It was a thing with 24 maybe naproxens in it. So initially I grab them, boom, I take 4 of them. So on the back, it says 12 hours, maybe 2 per day. I'm not exactly sure. I didn't read the directions, because in the past, I used to take hydros. I used to take oxys. I would take 10 at a time. Then half hour later, I would take another 10 because I'm not feeling those first 10. So for me to take 4 naproxen, that just seems like nothing to me. I didn't even give it a thought. So I take those first 4. Now it's about 4 hours later, I take another 4. Now it's right before I go to bed, I take another 4. Now it's the next morning, Wednesday morning, I take another 4. And then guess what? I show up at probation. Oh yeah, you gotta do a screen today. Screen comes back positive for heroin metabolites, something of that sort. So now I'm like, oh my gosh, I did not do this. I'm like, I cannot. I'm like, it has to be this. It has to be this. The probation officer takes my phone, looks through it. I'm like, please look at, I'm not doing anything wrong. These are all the positive things I'm doing. Please don't think I did this. I'm just going on and on. Please, no, this cannot be happening. Lord, why would you let this happen? And these are the things that I'm saying at this point in time. So now, and she's like, okay, you got to go over to the Beacon Center. You got to go do a screen over there and, see what happens, whatever. So I go to Beacon Center. I do a screen. It comes back, and it literally says I didn't have anything in my system. So now my treatment court is every 3 weeks. So I had to go there 3 weeks from that point. I show up at treatment court, and they're like, oh, because of your positive screen, you have to go back to the beginning of the program. So I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, it came back negative. I'm trying to argue with the judge and everything. And he's like, he's starting to get upset with me. And I bit my tongue and I just accepted it, and so I could look at this a couple different, now I'm starting this program all over again, which is a bummer. So now I'm going every week to treatment court, every week, everything has to kind of restart at this point in time. So now all the progress I made to this point, which I think I'm doing amazing. I haven't missed one appointment. I'm so on top of everything I'm doing. I'm going to church. I'm doing all these things perfectly in my life. Like, how could this possibly happen? But you know what? It did, and you know what? The reason why it did, it was because of something I did that I shouldn't have done. Because taking naproxen, whereas that is something that's so basic and means nothing to me, by doing that, that's not good for me. At this point, like, I'm focused on my health. I work out, I'm eating right. I'm doing all these other things to focus on my health. Quit smoking cigarettes, quit vaping, doing all these positive things. But yeah, I think it's okay just to take 16 naproxen in 15-hour time period. No, that's not good for you. That's not good for my liver, which is already somewhat damaged from all those hydros and oxys. But by the grace of God, it's not so bad that it doesn't register in even good numbers now. It's like repaired itself. So I'm actually within all good standing with all my numbers, which, like I said, by the grace of God, it's like that. So, but I had a choice at that point in time. Do I just quit, give up, and say it doesn't matter anyway because I'm never going to complete this? Or do I just, buckle down and just start over and go through it and just do it and look at it in a positive light? I looked at a couple things. First of all, is the one thing is that my probation was still running the whole time. So it's not like probation had to start over. So still, I'm going to still complete treatment court, and then I'll still have, probation left, anyway. So it wasn't going to like extend anything past what I was doing, except for treatment court was extended, and if I'm not going to do anything wrong, then what does it matter anyway? Because it's not going to make a difference anyway for me to just go to more appointments and go do that all over again, and it shows my fortitude, it shows how much I'm determined to do this all the right way. And also I look at it in the sense that God was protecting me from something. Had I completed treatment court at that proper time, because once you complete treatment court, now I only have to go to probation once a month. Now I'm not doing screens regularly, all those other things. So maybe if I'd completed at that right time, I wouldn't have been strong enough to not use, and something would have happened and it would have caused me to fall back. That was how I looked at that. So I just kept everything in the right mind frame, never gave up, and just took responsibility for it. I knew I shouldn't have taken those naproxen like that. I didn't know it at the time. I didn't even think about it at the time. But overall, that was another lesson for me to learn, not to abuse whether it's over-the-counter medicine, not to abuse it because it's not good for you. So I had to learn that lesson. Would I have learned that lesson any other way? Or would I today, when I woke up this morning, I had a bit of headache, would I have popped four of whatever it was, which it was like naproxen, Aleve today that I took 2 of them, or else would I have just taken a handful like I normally would have, which would have hurt my liver, which would have caused me to die earlier. Whatever. So I learned the proper lesson from it, and I moved on with my life. So, and those were the 3 things. And then, like I said, the one thing happened with the everything bagel where it came back positive for the codeine. So I had the first one, which was the mouth swab from the antibiotics, which caused it to come back. Nothing I could do about that. I couldn't help it, but when that had happened, it was so crazy of timing for that to happen, because when I started on probation, I went there and they provided me with all the paperwork, and they said, you're not allowed to smoke marijuana unless you have a medical marijuana card, then whatever. So at this time, I'm working, everyone there smoking weed, the place I'm staying at, everyone's smoking weed. So I'm thinking like, well, I want to smoke weed. So I went to the doctor, and I have carpal tunnel really bad in both my wrists. It's severe in both wrists. So they immediately, boom, medical marijuana card, they gave it to me. So now I'm going to probation this day, and I have that thing in my hand to go show them, so I'm going to be able to smoke weed. But when I go there, they tell me, oh yeah, the screen came back positive. Had they not done so, now by them doing that, I'm not going to say, oh, here's my paper, let me smoke weed, when I'm trying to fight this other thing, that had happened. I'm trying to prove that. So by that happening like that, it caused me never to hand in that paper and never start smoking weed, which by the grace of God, I am so happy about, because the way that my addiction always was, I would go full blown into whatever I'm doing. So that would be my life. It literally, like, I'd be smoking weed right now. Had that happened like that, I would have just smoked weed nonstop. I would have the pens. I would have a bunch of different pipes. I would have put all this different money into. I'd have 10 different kinds of weed. I could already see it now, what I would have done. But thankfully, God allowed that to happen at that moment, which caused me not to turn that paper, which caused me never to go get marijuana, which caused me never to smoke, which caused me to be drug-free at this moment. So I thank God so much for that, because I like having money to invest. I like having money for all these different things that I can spend my money on. Having a car instead of having $1,000 in weed laying around, and that's what I would have done. So there's always a reason why everything happens, and you have to look at it in that light. You can't let things get you down. You can't let things deter you and make you give up. You can't have excuses. If something happens to you in your life, you have to take it that this happened to me. Why did this thing happen to me? Because I let this thing happen to me. I caused this thing happen to me. Nobody else. You can't blame anyone else for anything that ever happens to you. I don't care. Like the way it was said to me, if someone comes and shoots you in the head, you can't blame them for that. You blame yourself, because it's not to do with them. It's to do with you. It's something that you did that caused them to do that. It's something that you did. So I always take responsibility for myself and for my actions. Anything that someone says to me, it's because I caused them to say it. Anything someone does to me, because I caused them to do it. What could I have done different? I don't expect anyone else to ever do anything differently. I just think of what could I have done different that would have caused this result to be different, the way I would want that result to be. And I act accordingly for that. And I find that by doing that, it just makes me strong in my life. No one can do anything against me, because I'm the I'm responsible for how my life is. I'm responsible for what I do with my life. So those were the things with treatment court. And I just, I went into every single thing being positive. I went into every single thing thinking that, knowing that people want the best thing. And I didn't fight with nothing. And I just adhered to anything that anyone said. I accepted it. I put myself in this situation. I asked for treatment court. I could have taken 6 months in jail. I ended up doing 83 days in jail. I could have done another 35 days in jail and just been done with all my charges. But I asked, I said, can I have something that holds me accountable, because I don't want to use drugs anymore. And that's what the result is. So I'm sitting here now 3 years later, drug free, not with a thought in the world of ever using a drug again. And that's amazing. And I never thought I could feel like this. And that's only because I took that treatment court. It's only because I took that probation that caused me to be in this point right now. Because had I not done those things, had I gotten out of jail, some of the situations that I initially found myself in, I wouldn't have been strong enough. But because I had those consequences, because I had those things to my actions, it kept me grounded and it kept me focused on what my overall goal was, and that was to be a part of my children's life. That was to be able to be a part of my daughter's wedding, which I wasn't, but she was able to be a part of mine. So it was just as good, in the end. So, but those are the things that I have to say about all that and everything, and just to try to look at everything in a positive light and just take responsibility for all of your actions. Anything that happens, it's because you allowed it to happen. You caused it to happen. Not what could someone else do differently, because you can't ever expect someone else to be different. It's what can I do differently? It's what can I do to get the results that I want from this situation? And that's how you look at it. But, I kept on changing probation officers. I must have had 4 different ones. Each one I looked at as an opportunity to win someone else over, to learn how to show someone else, the person that I am now. Whereas all these people saw me differently for so long of a period. But in the end, I walk into probation and you got the people working at the desk and stuff telling me, you look amazing. I want to tell you how great of a job you are doing and how proud we are of you. That's what the people at the desk are telling me. These people hated me they never hated me, but I put them through some stuff for a long time. I really, really did. So in the end though, being able to win everyone over and being able to do all that, and just to look at it that this got me to where I wanted to be. This program was amazing. It was awesome because I got to where I wanted to be. So the end result is what I wanted, but I wanted it, so I did everything accordingly. But if you go into probation and you go into treatment court and you're trying to get things over, you're trying to do all that, that's what so many people do, is they try to take shortcuts, or they try to use on these days, then they get caught for something. And whether it was the exact thing that they did, or whether it was something that maybe they didn't do, but they got caught for it, it's because you did something that caused this to happen. And if people just looked at it that way, people that say treatment court is a trap, you can never get through it, whatever, like one guy told me one time, oh, I ate an everything bagel and they caused me to fail, my hair. Well, you know what? You ate the everything bagel and you knew that you weren't supposed to. I did the same thing. I knew I wasn't supposed to. If they had caused me to go back, I would have to take responsibility for that and act accordingly. But overall, it was a great experience, and I'm so happy that I did take those things, because I don't think I'd be sitting here today making this video, obviously, because I just completed them. So I'm making a video about completing them, that I wouldn't be making this video, but I don't think I'd be making a video regardless. But that's what I got to say to you. So I love you guys. I appreciate you guys very much. Please subscribe, like, share, anything you guys can do to show the channel support and make the algorithm share the videos out to anyone who needs it. Thank you. God bless you. Goodbye.